GA Real Estate Exam Practice Flashcards, 81 questions with explained answers. Flashcard 1. Term. What is the cash-on-cash return of a $60,000 investment that generates $1,000 in monthly cash flow? Definition. $1,000 $12/$60,000 equals 0.2. Flashcard 2. Term. What is the name given to modification of billing calculation dates? Definition. Adjustment dates. This is the changing of a date where calculations of items such as property taxes, rent, and damage deposits are done. Flashcard 3. Term. Which of the following is not a fiduciary duty? Accounting, confidentiality, obedience, privacy. Definition. Privacy. Flashcard 4. Term. Why was the Civil Rights Act of 1866 significant in real estate? Definition. It protected against racial discrimination. Flashcard 5. Term. Jack is trying to convince Mary to sell her property in her neighborhood because it's changing due to the influx of people of other ethnic backgrounds. What is he doing? Definition. Blockbusting. Flashcard 6. Term. When a real estate license is responsible for maintaining a client's property and maximizing the return on investment, the licensee is acting as a blank. Definition. Property manager. Flashcard 7. Term. What is the term used to describe a scenario where an agent represents both the buyer and the seller? Definition. Dual agency. Flashcard 8. Term. What is an example of adverse possession? Definition. Continuous use of a private road. Adverse possession allows a person to claim a property right owned by another person. Flashcard 9. Term. What is a traffic report? Definition. A list of prospects who have inquired or visited the property. Flashcard 10. Term. Based on their contract, the lender declares the entire balance of the loan due immediately due to default by the borrower. How is this possible? Definition. Acceleration clause. Flashcard 11. Term. What is the measurement used to show the volatility of a market? Definition. Absorption rate. Ration of the number of properties that have been sold against the number of properties that are available for sale within a specified area. Flashcard 12. Term. What is the name of the mortgage that is transferred by the seller to the buyer? Definition. Assumable mortgage. Buyer absorbs the seller's remaining debt instead of taking out new mortgage. Flashcard 13. Term. What is the law of agency? Definition. A set of laws that apply to a person who acts on behalf of another person. Flashcard 14. Term. What is the nature of the title issued in condo ownership? Definition. Freehold. Flashcard 15. Term. What is a detailed building plan that is needed before starting construction? Definition. Blueprint. Flashcard 16. Term. Which formal agreement gives an agent the sole right to sell a property? Definition. Exclusive right to sell agreement. Flashcard 17. Term. Why was the Privacy Act of 1974 significant? Definition. It required agencies to publicize records to the Federal Register. Flashcard 18. Term. Blank is also referred to as panic selling or panic peddling. Definition. Blockbusting. Flashcard 19. Term. What is the name given to a mortgage whose interest rate does not change throughout the payment period? Definition. Fixed mortgage rate. Flashcard 20. Term. What is the set minimum amp for a new construction? Definition. 100 amps. Flashcard 21. Term. Other than buying a home using traditional channels, what other methods can a prospective owner use to buy a home? Definition. Public auctions. Flashcard 22. Term. What is the purpose of the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD? Definition. To ensure everyone has access to fair and equal housing. Flashcard 23. Term. What type of payment plan allows a borrower to make smaller payments in the early years of a mortgage with payments increasing over time? Definition. Graduated mortgage. Flashcard 24. Term. Which organization is the largest purchaser of home loans in the secondary market and serves to stimulate homeownership? Definition. Federal National Mortgage Association, FNMA. Flashcard 25. Term. Chris borrows money to purchase a new home and gives the mortgage to the lender as security. What term can be used to refer to Chris? Definition. Mortgager. Flashcard 26. Term. What is defined as the percentage owned by the buyer after making down payment? Definition. Loan-to-value ratio. Flashcard 27. Term. Mr. and Mrs. Johnson made a $350,000 profit on the sale of their primary home. How much do they owe in capital gains tax? Definition. $0 taxpayer relief of $1,997. A married couple is eligible for exemption from capital gain tax. Profits of up to $500,000 can be claimed if property is the primary home, living there for at least 2 years. Flashcard 28. Term. What fiduciary duty does a broker neglect by failing to disclosing the buyer's inability to afford a down payment? Definition. Disclosure. Flashcard 29. Term. If a seller nets $225,000 after paying a 10% fee, what was the total he received? Definition: $225,000 slash 1 minus 0.1 equals $250,000. Flashcard 30. Term: what is an assessment of the value of a property as of a specific date based on objective data? Definition: appraisal. Flashcard 31. Term: what kind of mortgage should you apply for if you are buying more than an individual unit or plot? Definition: blanket mortgage. Flashcard 32. Term: what is the name of the agreement that allows for conditions on a property? Definition: qualified fee estate. Flashcard 33. Term: a potential buyer has been denied a loan from a lender. The seller of the home allows the buyer to pay an agreed amount every month for ownership of the property. What is this type of agreement called? Definition: contract for deed. Flashcard 34. Term: which government agency is responsible for determining the status of an independent contractor? Definition: IRS. Individual can be classified as an independent contractor if the payer has the right to control the result of work and not how it will be not. Flashcard 35. Term: what is the name given to the lowest section of the roof that extends into the side walls? Definition: eaves. Flashcard 36. Term: which toxic metallic element in old paint and water pipes? Definition: lead. Flashcard 37. Term: which insurance policy provides extra liability coverage for the insured party? Definition: umbrella policy. Flashcard 38. Term: who controls flood insurance? Definition: FEMA. Flashcard 39. Term: what act prohibits discrimination based on race or color? Definition: Civil Rights Acts of 1866. Flashcard 40. Term: a blank is a law that defines how property in specific geographic area can be used. Definition: zoning ordinance. Flashcard 41. Term: a real estate licensee makes a change to an original contract. They extend the closing date on a contract by 30 days. This change is called an blank. Definition: addendum. Flashcard 42. Term: what is the term used to describe the act of replacing an existing mortgage with another? Definition: refinancing. Flashcard 43. Term: what does an exclusive listing contract need to be considered valid? Definition: specified expiration date. Flashcard 44. Term: a tenant is legally allowed to remove equipment previously installed to facilitate business operations before the expiry of a lease. Why is this the case? Definition: the equipment is considered trade fixtures. Flashcard 45. Term: what are contingencies as used in real estate? Definition: conditions that must be met by both the buyer and the seller before closing. Flashcard 46. Term: which chemical compounds commonly used in coolants and refrigeration contribute to the depletion of the ozone? Definition: CFCs. Flashcard 47. Term: what is the amount of space used to calculate the lease payments, which includes the shared property's common and service areas? Definition: rentable square footage. Flashcard 48. Term: what is a form of co-ownership that involves a husband and a wife having equal and undivided interest in the property? Definition: tenancy by entirety. Flashcard 49. Term: what is the name given to a loan taken out to finance construction? Definition: construction loan. Flashcard 50. Term: what type of easement attaches rights to an individual rather than the property? Definition: easement in gross. Flashcard 51. Term: what type of listing only guarantees commission for a sale within a specified period? Definition: exclusive listing. Exclusive listing between seller and agent that commission can only be earned when sale is made within specified time. Flashcard 52. Term: what is a deed used for? Definition: to transfer title rights. Flashcard 53. Term: what is the purpose of a real estate appraisal? Definition: provide a professional estimate of the property's market value. Flashcard 54. Term: blank measures the rental rates with value of real property. Definition: gross rent multiplier. Flashcard 55. Term: a blank is a loan where the borrower pays a down payment of %20 and receives a loan of %80. Definition: conventional loan. Flashcard 56. Term: what is it when another state recognizes your real estate license? Definition: reciprocity allows agents to obtain a real estate license in another state by taking the reciprocal state's exam. Flashcard 57. Term: why was the Fair Housing Act of 1968 significant? Definition: it prohibited discrimination when selling, financing, or renting of a property. Flashcard 58. Term: what type of contract allows the parties involved to disarm without liability? Definition: voidable contract. Flashcard 59. Term: blank is the increase in value that occurs when combining two parcels into one large parcel. Definition: plottage. Flashcard 60. Term: Why must a lawsuit be filed within a specific time after an occurrence? Definition: statute of limitations. Flashcard 61. Term: if you have a loan of $150,000 with an 8% interest, how much do you pay in interest every month? Definition: $150,000 0.8/12 equals $1,000. Flashcard 62. Term: which two parties are responsible for determining the commission earned by the broker? Definition: seller and broker. Flashcard 63. Term: what is the contract that secures a future transaction? Definition: call option. Flashcard 64. Term: what type of house insulation was banned due to the release of formaldehyde fumes? Definition: UFFI. Flashcard 65. Term: who oversee that Federal Housing Association? Definition: U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Flashcard 66. Term: when applying for a loan, what is a fixed rate? Definition: a loan that has a predetermined repayment interest rate. Flashcard 67. Term: what is an exclusive term to describe the lease entered when an individual buys shares from a housing corporation? Definition: proprietary lease. Flashcard 68. Term: what is the state of having no legal effect? Definition: void. Flashcard 69. Term: what are not examples of an appurtenant right? Definition: furnace, swimming pool, air conditioning, etc. Flashcard 70. Term: what is the name of a transaction where seller finances the whole sale or part of the sale of a property for the buyer? Definition: purchase money. Flashcard 71. Term: James and Peter co-own a property where they both have equal undivided interests and right of survivorship. What co-ownership agreement do they have? Definition: joint tenancy. Flashcard 72. Term: what is the relationship between a broker and their client called? Definition: fiduciary. Flashcard 73. Term: what is the document that is used to transfer legal rights to act in the interest of a person? Definition: power of attorney. Flashcard 74. Term: what is never included in the process of valuation? Definition: comparative market analysis. Flashcard 75. Term: a number of brokers agreed on a set standard commission. What antitrust law are they guilty of violating? Definition: price fixing. Flashcard 76. Term: what is the name of a transaction where both the buyer and seller are seeking the best deal? Definition: arm's length transaction. Flashcard 77. Term: what is the financial document that contains a written promise to fulfill a certain payment? Definition: promissory note. Flashcard 78. Term: a liability that consists of smaller payments of interest and principal and a balloon payment on the loan maturity date is a blank. Definition: partially amortized loan. Flashcard 79. Term: what is the term used to refer to the responsibility one individual has for the acts of another? Definition: vicarious liability. Flashcard 80. Term: what is the name given to the banking option that allows a customer to deposit a specified amount for a predetermined period of time? Definition: certificate of deposit. Flashcard 81. Term: the Equal Credit Opportunity Act, ECOA, prohibits lenders from discriminating against blank. Definition: gender, marital status, and national origin.